This is the Scuba Educational Alliance Ocean Podcast, Episode 18. The Scuba Educational Alliance Ocean Podcast is a bi-weekly podcast dedicated to the world of scuba diving, ocean health, sustainability, and fostering a new generation of ocean stewards through diving education. Hello again, everyone. And as always, I want to thank you for tuning in to this latest episode. I'm Jeff Centropino, founder and president of the Scuba Educational Alliance of Connecticut, dedicated to fostering a new generation of ocean stewards by offering scholarships and grants to young men and women seeking scuba diving training and education. Well, they say April showers bring May flowers, but we've certainly had our share of rainy weather since the calendar moved into May. Fortunately, this week it's dried out just a bit, and now we have to get through all that heavy pollen. I hate it when it turns my car yellow. Now, last week I also got together with the writers from Scuba Diving Industry Magazine for the Level Up podcast, and that's where I discussed my most recent article on travel insurance. A little peace of mind goes a long way. Next week, we're going to be heading down to Pennsylvania for a family event over Memorial Day weekend. And then Donna and I are off to Key Largo to wrap up the month. So I'm going to be moving my next episode out a week. Episode 19 won't be out until June 5th. Just wanted to give everyone a heads up. Today, I want to spend a little time talking about a report from Oceana titled Plastic Foam Needs to Go. But before that, let's do some news and information updates with Sea State. This is Sea State here on the Scuba Educational Alliance Ocean Podcast for Thursday, May 15th, 2025. So let's start off today by getting some of the bad news out of the way. Bad news in that the budget cuts continue to impact our ability to forecast and understand the impacts of climate change. First, there was a report recently from NBC News that talked about some severe weather in eastern Nebraska. I think they said that this occurred on April 17th. You see, there were severe thunderstorms in the area, and the Weather Service did launch a 3 p.m. weather balloon that day. And the data from that launch suggested that there would be a lot of hail, but really didn't provide information that would result in tornadoes. Well, they normally launch a 7 p.m. balloon, but due to staffing shortages, that launch did not take place. And if they would have seen now that the tornadoes were a real possibility. Independent meteorologists said that the 7 p.m. balloon launch could have helped forecasters identify the risks of tornadoes sooner. It ended up that there were 6 confirmed tornadoes that night. What does the Commerce Department have to say? According to a spokesman, NOAA does not anticipate any disruption in service as a result of staff reorganization, and the NWS, as National Weather Service, will continue to meet its mission of ensuring public safety amid critical weather events. Well, I'll let you be the judge of that. The second bit of bad news regarding climate change and weather events comes from a story on CNN Online by Andrew Friedman. And this is in their climate section. According to the article, the Trump administration has ended an extreme weather database that has tracked the cost of weather disasters since 1980. The database is also known as the $1 Billion Weather and Climate Disaster Database. It's being retired. So, what is the impact? It will now make it impossible for the public to track the cost of extreme weather and climate events. You might ask, why is this happening? You see, there are many people and businesses who really don't want the public to see how fossil fuel is changing the world around us. Since 1980, there have been 403 weather events that have caused over $1 billion in damage. And the total tracked is $2.945 trillion. In 2023, there were $28 billion weather events. So let's hide the facts and deny climate change is real. Let's do a little fish news. There was a story in the New York Post back in April written by Ben Cost. The headline, How Influencers Are the Reason for the Rise in Shark Attacks. Experts are shocked that they have to issue warnings. Social media, don't you love it? French scientists documented shark attacks where selfie-taking influencers were encouraging tourists to pet sharks. Guess what? Sharks don't really want to be petted, and their natural defense mechanisms kick in. There were several examples of where people were trying to get pictures with sharks and putting themselves in danger. Makes sense that the more we provoke these animals, the more incidents will occur. Now, I really enjoy diving with sharks, and I love photographing them in their natural habitat. But I would never consider provoking a shark for a shot. Please don't harass marine life. Our second fish story comes from Oceanographic Magazine Online by Rob Hutchins. A dinosaur fish thought to be extinct revealed itself on a Blancpain mission. Unseen expeditions captured footage of a species of coelacanth thought to have vanished 700 million years ago. The spelling of coelacanth is Coelacanth. I had to Google how to pronounce it. The coelacanth is an ancient group of lobe-finned fish. The expedition found it in Maluku Archipelago in Indonesia. The leader of the expedition, Alex Chapwis, got the shots at 145 meters. That's deep, 475 feet deep. Now, they encountered the coelacanth on the morning dives in October 2024. With long decompression obligations, I guess you only get to do one dive a day. In any event, this just goes to prove that there's still a lot out there in the oceans yet to be discovered. But I'm afraid, maybe not, the Loch Ness Monster. Have you ever thought about owning a shipwreck? Well, Dom Ramsey did. Now, I came across an article in the Times Online by Christian Oliver that told the story of how Dom bought a First World War shipwreck on Facebook for £300. The article said that Dom always fancied a pile of rusty iron to call his own, but didn't expect it to be so easy. He purchased the wreck of the SS Almond Branch, a steam-powered cargo ship that was torpedoed by a German submarine on November 27, 1917. The sinking was off the coast of Cornwall. That's the southwesternmost point in the UK. The government in the UK used to sell shipwrecks to salvagers, but stopped that about 20 years ago. I guess the owner of the SS Almond Branch decided to put it on Facebook Marketplace when Dom snatched it up. He did get an official government-issued letter from the receiver of wrecks, making him the owner. The wreck is in about 15 meters, and thankfully Dom is not keeping the wreck to himself, as it is open to other divers. Maybe I should check out Facebook Marketplace. Perhaps there's a shipwreck for the taking. And finally, here's some news from the diving industry as it relates to trade shows and media. This comes from Dive Newswire, where they published a short article from Mark Young, who is the current owner of the Scuba Show that runs out of Long Beach and the California Diving newsletter. Mark has decided to step away from the diving industry after 34 years. Some might not recognize Mark, but many divers and dive shop owners will know about the two publications that Mark had prior to the pandemic, Dive Training Magazine and Dive Center Business. They were mainstays of the industry and fantastic publications that unfortunately could not survive COVID. Roke Media, owned by Ross Arnold and Mark Evans, will be taking over after the Scuba Show that runs May 31st and June 1st this year. Roke Media currently runs two other dive shows, Go Diving Show UK and Go Diving Show Australia. They also publish Scuba Diver magazine that has 4 different editions: UK, Germany, North America, and Australia/New Zealand. This is great news from Mark to be moving on, and great news that another entity has stepped in to keep the fires lit. We definitely need dive shows to connect all the stakeholders in the diving industry. Well, that wraps up this installment of Sea State here on the Scuba Educational Alliance Ocean Podcast. Back in March, in my Sea State segment, I reported on the Farewell to Foam Act that was reintroduced in both houses of Congress this go-around. Reintroduced because it failed to make it last time. But that doesn't mean we stop trying. Even if the current political environment makes it tough on environmental issues, especially one as critical as plastic pollution. So today I want to go a little deeper into this problem with plastic foam by reviewing a report that was released by Oceana in April 2025, titled Plastic Foam Needs to Go: How Takeout Containers and Other Types of Plastic Foam Hurt the Oceans and Our Health. The authors of this report are Dr. Kimberly Warner, Christy Levitt, and Emily Nunez. Now, the report isn't too long. It's about 30 pages, and it's not overly wordy, but it does pack in a great deal of information. Like most reports, it starts out with an executive summary that gives us some of the key topics that will be covered in the report. One of the key findings that the executive summary points out is that in addition to the wide-ranging evidence that shows it's time for a change, most Americans agree. Here's what they say. A national poll released in 2025 found that more than 3 out of 4 registered U.S. voters, including Democrats, Republicans, and Independents, support policies that reduce single-use plastic foam. I guess we can all agree that we don't like seeing these broken up styrofoam cups littering the side of the road or washing up at the beach. The executive summary also has a section titled Quick Foam Facts, where they bullet out 8 different facts. Now, I know in today's world, facts are a little suspect or challenged, but I think these might be worth looking at to get an overall feel for the problem. Here are a couple that are worth noting. More than 8 million metric tons, that's 17.6 billion pounds of plastic foam, are produced globally each year. Plastic foam fragments, cups, and plates are among the top 10 most littered items found across the United States. Only 1% or less of plastic foam waste is recycled each year in the U.S., and worldwide plastic foam production emits an estimated 48 million metric tons of greenhouse gases. And that was in 2019. That's nearly equal to the emissions of 13 coal-fired power plants. So, not only do we see the impacts after its use, we are seeing the impacts during production. Most definitely a lose-lose situation. So what exactly is plastic foam? It's polystyrene, and that's produced from a chemical process that transforms oil or gas into plastic. Guess what? The process and the trade data surrounding plastic foam is kept secret. I wonder why that is. We really don't want people to know what goes into making those plastic forks or cups. There are 3 main types of polystyrene. EPS, or expanded polystyrene, and that is the lightweight, low density, or buoyant foam that is 95% air by volume. We're all familiar with this stuff that breaks down easily. We see it everywhere. Then there's XPS, or extruded polystyrene, trademarked as styrofoam, used mainly for insulation and construction. This stuff usually is treated with chemical flame retardants, so when it gets disposed of, we have another problem to contend with. The final category is the general purpose or high impact polystyrene. These are the hard plastics like disposable cutlery, rigid cups, toys, etc. The report then goes into the impacts on ocean wildlife and human health, along with problems with production and the climate impacts. Marine animals are harmed by plastic foam mainly through ingestion. By consuming larger pieces of foam, they run the risk of intestinal blockage. Additionally, these plastic foam fragments act as a toxic sponge, soaking up harmful chemicals in the water, chemicals like PCBs. So they are also ingesting the chemicals along with the foam. You can read all about those impacts in the report. So now we have plastic foam pollution causing more stress in addition to climate change, overfishing, and habitat loss. The section on impacts to human health is a little scary. The report indicated that approximately 16,000 chemicals are used to make plastic. 25% are known to be hazardous to human health, and another 10,000 have not even been tested for human safety. We are kept in the dark deliberately by the plastic industry. Styrene has been linked to lymphatic cancers, leukemia, respiratory issues, eye irritation, vision and hearing loss, impaired memory and concentration. Wow, there is just nothing good about this stuff, but it's everywhere. I want to read the opening paragraph from the section titled The Problem with Plastic Foam Production. People are largely paying the price for the production of plastic foam. The creation of plastic foam depends on the extraction of fossil fuels, whether from drilling operations on land or in the ocean, including by hydraulic fracturing or fracking. U.S. taxpayers subsidize oil and gas and petrochemicals to the tune of $9 billion over the last decade, keeping production costs artificially low for these billion and trillion dollar industries and making plastic production a lucrative industry. Now that just makes me angry, and we really can't recycle it. Hardly any U.S. communities collect single-use plastic foam as part of their curbside recycling. But we can't give up, even if at the federal level things are unlikely to happen. The section on turning the tide on plastic foam gives us a summary of states that have put plastic foam bans in place. Connecticut wasn't on that list. I have to do some research. I think there's something out there, because there are other New England states like Maine and Rhode Island. They have plastic foam foodware bans. These bans do work. The report gave several examples where there were very positive results in Washington, D.C., Baltimore, and Charleston. So if we can't do it on a national level, we can make a difference with each state doing the right thing. After all, 78% of U.S. registered voters support policies to reduce single-use plastic foam. The report wraps up with some recommendations to phase out the production of plastic foam and tackle plastic foam pollution. They are: phase out the sale and distribution of single-use plastic foam, including foodware, packing peanuts, and foam coolers at the local, state, and national level, and encourage reusable and refillable systems in place of single-use packaging and products. That's what the government can do. But we also need companies to step up by stopping production and give us plastic-free choices. We just need to keep chipping away at the plastic problem. It will be extremely difficult, but with every small action, hopefully we can stem the tide and reverse the trend. Well, that's it for this episode. Thanks for tuning in. And again, it'll be 3 weeks until the next podcast. Until then, take care, everyone. This has been the Scuba Educational Alliance Ocean Podcast, a show dedicated to the world of scuba diving, ocean health, sustainability, and fostering a new generation of ocean stewards through diving education. Talk to you again real soon.